Hello and welcome to Connect Church Community Online. We're glad that you're with us. We're going to be talking about the Christ Tree Part 2. Christ Tree Part 2. Let's go ahead and read again in Isa.11. We're going to be in John 15 as well. But it says, "There shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse." That's King David's lineage, like the family tree that we talked about. "And a branch will grow out of his roots." And so in the first part, we talked about a rod referring to Jesus and we talked about the stem and the Hebrew aspects of that. And then I want to get back with where we closed out at on the third point and talk about it a little more, which is the branch. So the Christ tree has branches, but Christ is the branch. See, and when you look up in our English word, you see for branch a division or a subdivision of the main stem or axis of a tree. And so when you're beginning to look at that, whether it's a shrub or a plant, it is something that is coming off of the main thing. And let me tell you something. The main thing of all of life is, first of all, creation. God created everything. It was good. It was great. And he loved it. Now, what happened, then? Man fell. They fell into sin. Sin came in Genesis chapter 3. So there was creation. There's fall. Well, then, God already in the beginning had a plan for redemption. And that's the third part. Because a lot of times people think, well, I've sinned and it's over. But let me tell you, there's hope of a tree if it be cut down. See, there is, and we're going to talk about that in the end, but here are, when you're talking about something coming off of the main stem or the main part of a tree, it's called an offshoot. And so when you start looking at it, maybe the branches that come out that we're talking about, and then it spreads the branches to divide into separate parts and subdivisions. It's not like denominations. We're all different. We all have different gifts and everything. It's kind of like that we are different arms and legs and feet of Jesus, and we're part of the tree that God has planted in this world. Because the Christ tree, God sent His Son Jesus, and not just as God, but He came as a human being. He was 100% God, 100% man. And so because of that, now we're not just like little parts of a plant. We're partners. We're siblings. We're blood brothers with Christ because He came as that babe, but He'd always existed, and because of that, He died on Calvary because we were sinners, not Him. And so when you start thinking of this, we, just like the disciples, are branches off of the true vine. In John 15 verse 5 and 6 says, "I am the vine and you are the branches. The one who remains in me and I in him produces much fruit, because you can do nothing without me." And we need to realize that. With Him we can do everything. Without Him we can do nothing. But if anyone does not remain in me, He's talking about on that tree, he is thrown aside like a bad branch. He withers. They gather them up and they throw them in the fire, and they are burned. And see, when Jesus Christ, it was not figuratively, but when He stretched His arms out on that tree of Calvary, He really was the life that brought salvation to us, even us Gentiles that are not Jewish, that we could be saved and we could be a part of the redemptive plan of God. And so when we begin to look at that, not just now the branches, but here at the end, let's talk about the stump and the roots. the stump and the roots. It's like when you start thinking about what does it mean here when you're talking about this branch and you're putting it on a stump. Maybe you've heard of the botanical term of grafting, and that is you take a healthy tree, but it doesn't have the right fruit, and it is cut down, and then you plant a soft, tender shoot, that branch that Jesus was, that he was cut down. In Genesis 3:15, the devil must be crushed, okay? But in this, Jesus would bruise his heel in bringing salvation to man. And so Jesus, being this young, tender shoot, this baby, he was grafted into the plan of God for the foundation of the world, so that now you and I, man, it doesn't matter what our past is, what part of tree that we were, or whatever our ancestry, our sin, whatever it is, we can be cut off of that, and we can become a young, tender-hearted shoot that can grow up into the tree of life. And so when we begin that, and I want you to think about this with part 2 with the Christ tree. Looking forward to giving you the third part tomorrow. Thank you so much.